So in various reports into governance in the last few years have talked about the need for greater recognition of governors and governor achievements. But what would that look like? What do you think?
Cakes all round. We agree we're going to set aside the question of payment, because I think that's a non-starter in the current system. There has been quite radical overall. Well, for one thing, there's a negative side, isn't it? It'd be jolly good if politicians actually talk much more about governance than they do, and stopped saying the head teacher does this and the head teacher does that, when in fact they mean the governing body, which would help. Local authorities do give some forms of recognition to governors.
That's usually for long service, isn't it? Which is rewarding stamina more than anything.
Or just sheer obstinacy, yes.
But let's be careful. It's great when people are prepared to do the job for a long time, there's no doubt about it, but that isn't the prime quality that you're looking to reward.
No, my own authority in fact gives awards on an annual basis for outstanding governance, and it's not the only authority that does that. There are some others. It's a bit hit-and-miss method. There are resources. I'm not sure there's will either to make it very rigorous. We want to do that, so it depends upon nominations. But you can at least have an event for a number of governors. It's only a small proportion of the whole authority, but it gets in the press, so it's sort of recognition then that there is something valuable there. But a lot of us just want someone to say thank you once in a while. And maybe if Ofsted actually found good governance, made a bit more about it, or even if schools were prepared to publicising themselves, it would help, so that people felt they'd done a good job, it had been recognised.
Yeah, because it's certainly true that the best form of governor recruitment is a really good governing body, and to have some sort of badge, some sort of recognition might be helpful in that. But of course, the NGA does governor awards, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and if you get nominated or if you're in the shortlist, that should be seen as a great accolade. And I wouldn't downplay the value of that, but it's only once every 2 years, and then you have one national outstanding governing body. It is perhaps things that can be done on a regional basis as well, or even on
well, there's the teaching awards as well. Do they still do that Governor of the Year?
No, that's stopped.
Is that when? It always struck me as being a bit odd, that, because every category in the teaching awards had a sponsor.
Yes.
Like some business or something, or bank, dare I say, except the governor, which had to be sponsored by the DfE because nobody else would do it.
Tells you a lot about governance.
Yes, absolutely. And what a shame.
It was a shame. And also, I was always rather uneasy about it, because I didn't like the idea of an outstanding governor quite separate from the governing body, which is why the NGA award is a governing body.
I think that is better.
That is the right message to give.
Definitely. But other than that, it's difficult to see, isn't it, exactly what sort of public recognition there could be.
Yeah, I mean, more awards in the national honours every year. I think the last one there were 11 governors, which actually is quite a high figure, given the number of volunteers that there are. That is something that governors can actually do things about themselves, because you can nominate people for those, and there probably should be more nominations coming from governing bodies. So that would help. But if you had 50 every year, then that would become quite a significant group amongst all the recipients.
And I suppose maybe you could argue that through things like National College and the NLGs, National Leaders of Governance, that's beginning to recognise that there are people out there with these skills and the ability to support other governing bodies. But it's not paid, is it? It's more volunteering.
It is more volunteering, but then that's why you do it. So I don't think that will be a problem for people. We are supposed to have more NLGs, so again, I suppose with that, do have a certain momentum, and if you had a few hundred, then again that would sort of raise the profile. Be something to sort of aim for. But people have looked at forms of accreditation, and the governing bodies, and you can end up with a certificate for your wall or the schools entrance or what have you, but they're not proved popular because of the amount of work that's involved on top of what you already do.
So government mark is probably the best example, isn't it? And it's still there, and people are still doing it.
Yes.
But it's, you know, the number that have gone through is relatively small, isn't it?
Yes.
Certainly fewer than 100.
Oh, it's definitely fewer than 100, and it's very well worth as well thing to do, but it's not going to appeal to a lot of governments.
No.
So, I'm aware of what sort of recognition do people get in other forms of volunteering?
Well, I'm not sure they do.
No, they don't.
That's the nature of volunteering.
Yeah.
So I'm always a bit puzzled then when people say we need greater recognition.
Yeah.
It just seems to be a circular argument. There won't be recognition because you're a volunteer.
Because you're a volunteer. Yeah, but then it's part of human nature, as I said earlier, to want to be thanked. So
yeah. So maybe the thanking should come from head teacher, staff. But what I often hear is the opposite. You know, it's head and staff saying the governors never thank us.
I know. Yes. I think governing bodies are actually very good at that recording thanks to people. So occasionally you get mentioned in a sort of head teacher's report at the end of the summer term. But it might be nice if head teachers make a point of thanking governors in front of the staff.
Yeah.
And so chair of governors come along to our last staff meeting of the year. You know, we'll just give you a cup of tea and then we'll say how wonderful you are. Or not.
Okay, I look forward to that.
Yeah.